Today we have stand-up comedian promoting his new comedy special, Trash Daddy, Trae Crowder. Trae, can you hear me?
I can, yeah. How's it going?
It's going good, man. I watched your first session the other night, man. Loved it. It's funny, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that one was called Damn Boy from a couple years ago. Yeah, Trash Daddies. The follow-up, I suppose. I mean, not really a sequel. It's not like I do sequels to the bits or anything. You know how it goes. But yeah, feeling good about the new one too. Glad you like the other one.
I always love when I see comedy and I see a comedian taking risks. I mean, when you go out there, you basically take on half the country. And I love the balls behind that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate. I mean, listen, the truth is, you're giving me a little bit too much credit because at this point, I'm lucky enough through my online presence and following and everything to, I can sell some tickets. So the people that come to see me are largely, they're on board, not exclusively. I mean, last week in Minneapolis, there's a guy in a big MAGA hat in the front row, but I got to give him credit, man. He laughed the whole time and was actually cool about it. But I was thinking, I was like, well, this guy ain't going to make it very long in this show, but he surprised me. So people still can do that. But yeah, I mean, I did come up as a comedian in the South, always doing that type of stuff. And I definitely used to get off on pushing those types of buttons, like for sure. I had like pride in doing that, but, and I mean, I still do, but like I said, now the reality is like at my shows, it's mostly my crowd. So I kind of know where they're at on it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know who don't do stand up. I've been fortunate. I can talk about being old, and nobody's going to be mad at me about that. How dare you make fun of yourself? Mm-hmm. The jokes you make, there's always going to be one dude who's going to lose his mind.
Yeah, or more than one often. But yeah, no, you're right. It's always, I mean, even stuff that I do, like even like my generally liberal fans, because of the nature of how liberals are and how divided and diverse and everything they are, you can't please all of them either. Like I'll invariably upset even people who like me sometimes by just not saying the right thing about the right subject in their minds or whatever, so, but you just gotta, that's just par for the course. If you're good, I was a comedy nerd growing up, and my favorite comedians were always the ones who, went for it, who talked about real stuff, who pushed back, who skewered our society and all that type of thing. So it's the only kind of comedy I ever really wanted to do, before I ever even started. So I knew going in that would be, a part of it. So I just accept that and roll with it.
Well, what's funny is I'm an attorney, and I have to, believe it or not, I have to go up to Tennessee from Florida and try cases all the time. Now, when I go there with this accent, I bring this accent into a courtroom, and I realize it must have felt exactly how you felt when you took your accent over to California.
Yeah, probably. It's funny. It's on Trash Daddy. The opening bit is just a little kind of throwaway thing about me talking about Southern lawyers a little bit, because I feel like lawyer is one of the only occupations you can have where a Southern accent is okay. It's accepted. People like the guy walks into a courtroom talking like Foghorn Leghorn. You're like, okay, well, this guy's legit. You know what I mean? Which is like not the case if if you're in the operating room and the surgeon walks in talking like Foghorn Leghorn, So I've always thought that, and I talk about like I kind of wanted to be a lawyer at one point growing up, and I say that was the reason why, because I knew I was going to have this accent, and I felt like my options were limited, but I went with the giggle monger path instead, which is working out okay too. So yeah,
I love the idea of you being around, let's just say, some high end people in California, and the minute they hear that voice, they go,
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. Sometimes people think that it's like a bit I'm doing, or because I live in LA and like Hollywood stuff, I think that they think it's like, I'm some kind of weirdo method actor who's got an audition coming up for a possum detective or something, and they think I'm getting into character. But I mean, people have asked me openly, like people I've just met, have been like, is that really your accent? Do you really talk like that? Like they don't buy it. And it's always funny because I could be wrong, but I feel like this is one of, if not the only accent that would get that response from a person. Like if I was like, Scottish, and I walked up to somebody like, "Hey, today, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me here." Like I don't think they would hit me with that. Like, "Ooh, slow down, kilt boy." I don't think people would do that. But this accent, for some reason, it's just like people in California were like, no self-respecting person would walk around talking that way. What's he doing? So it is weird.
What always cuts me is every once in a while you hear an actress or an actor doing a interview, and they talk about how hard they worked to get rid of their accent.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, it's fun. In my new act I'm doing now on the road, because Trash Daddy came out and I'm still on the road. Everything that I'm doing now, if you come see me live, TraeCrowder.com, by the way, for tickets. If you come see me live, everything's completely different, obviously. And in my new act, I talk about that a little bit, about how the expectation kind of is like if you leave the South or leave a town like mine and go elsewhere, most people lose their accent and it's expected that you will, and I just haven't, right? And I say, like, people always want to know why. Well, here's the God's honest truth. I don't know why. I just can't do it, and I just can't. And it's like, I live in Hollywood. I'm doing this actory stuff sometimes. I go to auditions, and I don't know what it is, but I found that I can replace my accent with a different accent, not just any accent, but like a Scottish one or a British one or whatever. But I can't just remove it entirely and do like a flat Iowa American accent for some reason. It's like my brain interprets that as the like absence of an accent. And I don't know why, but I just can't do it. It actually is a major source of frustration for me, to be honest with you. But I just can't wrap my head around it for some reason.
Well, as long as it makes us laugh, that's all that matters.
Sure, that's the goal.
Now, what cuts me up, when I get to talk to people, I always get to look at their history a little bit. And I always love on yours, one of the big things that says, first person in your family to graduate college.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm from a town called Salina, Tennessee. There's no traffic lights or McDonald's there. It's incredibly rural. It's one of those places that, it's a small town vibe. You either leave at 18 forever, like never to return, or you never leave at all, like that type of thing. And my family on both sides have been there for generations, and it's just people just didn't go to, like, my dad went to college and lasted like not even a year, but before that, people just didn't. That wasn't a thing people did really in my town, or at least especially in my family. But I was like the smart kid in school growing up, which like I realize now looking back is like being the straightest guy at a Cher concert or whatever. Like it's not that impressive really being the smart kid in that particular town. But I thought I was really hot stuff at the time. And it was just always taken for granted I was going to go to college. I knew I wanted to do stand up already, but I didn't have no interest in doing that like starving artist stuff. I waited tables through college. I'd grown up poor. I did not want to be a starving artist. So I like went to college to get a degree to get like a good job while I moonlit as a stand-up comedian. And that's what I ended up doing. But I loved college and I would do it all again in a heartbeat. So, yeah, proud of it. Tennessee Tech University, go Golden Eagles, class of 2009.
Well, what I love about this is you get yourself a business degree, then you work for the Department of Energy, and then you I can't imagine that conversation with your family. This college thing, I'm the first guy. I'm glad you guys are all proud of me. I'm doing stand-up now.
Well, it goes, I was raised pretty much entirely by my dad. My mom wasn't around a lot. My dad owned the video store in Salina, Tennessee, like the local video store, which is why I grew up into Hollywood stuff, movies and TV and comedy and everything. And he was into that too. His dad my grandpa was the real patriarch of the family, and he was very much like that. He was like, you've got a golden ticket, boy. You can do anything you want to. And in towns like mine, anything you want to meant you can be a lawyer or a doctor. Those are the pinnacle of achievement in my hometown. And when I told him, he's like, well, I think I want to do stand-up comedy. He was like, what? No, you're throwing it all away. You're wasting it. Why would you do that? He was not on board at all. But my dad was always like, I think it'd be cool as hell, boy. Like he was always just very supportive. They are both no longer with us, but yeah, it was a little split in my family. But my dad was on board the whole time and thought it was super cool. So, that probably made it easier. But again, I had these conversations with him before I even went to college. Like, it was the plan pre-college. So, that no one should have been blindsided when I started doing stand-up while working for the DOE.
What I love about the world we live in now, and I think COVID caused that, is that if you think you're funny, you're doing stand up, you go, okay, I'm going to get myself a YouTube channel. I'm going to get stuff online. And if things blow up, I have a chance to go global. Now, this happens to you. You get a couple million followers on YouTube. But one thing I learned is we had a video the other day. I got a call in the middle of the morning. It's like 5 in the morning. Dude, you know that video we did now has 3 million followers? I was like, what? Yeah, it got 3 million views. And I look at the video, I'm going, this is no different than 50 others we shot earlier. And there's no rhyme or reason for it.
No, it's not. No, I mean, I'd sooner lasso the moon than, try to crack the code of going viral or what works and does not work on the internet. I've been doing it I first went viral in 2016. So like quite a bit pre-pandemic even. And that was like, at that point in time in the stand-up world, Bo Burnham had done that and was established already, and he had done that years earlier, but he was kind of the only one. It still wasn't even really a thing yet in 2016, and then now in the comedy world, it's like expected. Like, if you want to do stand-up, you better have a TikTok channel, an Instagram presence. You better make video. You're going to have to, or it ain't going to work. But yeah, so I've made videos for the internet for so long, and I still, almost 10 years in, I never know which ones are gonna. I'll make sometimes I'm like, I feel good about that one, feel like that's some of my better work, and then it's fine, it does whatever, and then I'll put one out because it's time to put one out, and I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not really feeling that. I could have done better, and then that one, blows up, and it's like, there is no rhyme or reason to it. You're right. I mean, it's catching lightning in a bottle, going like truly viral. That's the other thing too. There's so much internet stuff now that like you can get millions of views, and that's great. It always helps, but it's like going like viral, like tens of millions of views and all that. It's in my opinion, it's just a real like lottery ticket type of thing. Like, I mean, I feel like the last person who really did it on that level was the Hawk Tuah girl,
Yeah.
Like, we're talking like that type of viral, which I at least approached that in 2016, the first time for me. And that's the one that like changed my whole life overnight. But they're not all views and videos are created equal, for sure.
When people go to clubs, when you have to travel and you get booked in the middle of nowhere, I remember one time, I also write comic books, that this group came up to me and they go, we're part of your fan group out of Denmark. You're big in Denmark. I'm going, how the hell do I get big in Denmark? Now, you've traveled all over this country. Are there places where you go, I cannot believe my reach goes all the way here?
Well, I mean, kind of, no. I mean, at first, yes, I couldn't believe that I could go to, because I'd been doing stand up in just the South, and I couldn't believe I could go to like Boise, Idaho, or wherever, and that there would be, a few hundred people show up to a comedy show. I mean, that blew my mind. I mean, it still does. I'm still very grateful for it, but I've been doing it full time for a long time now. And I just being honest, I talk about American politics and American culture and stuff. So within this country, yes. And I still don't, you're talking about having a global reach. If I get a email from a podcast listener, which I have, it's like, I'm in Denmark, I'm in Scotland, whatever, that does still blow my mind. Cause I'm always kind of like, why are you listening? I'm glad you are, but what's the appeal for you? Cause I need to figure it out and do more of it, but I'd like to have eventually a more like global appeal. But yeah, I'm just surprised. I'm still surprised and appreciative of the fact that anybody gets on board and likes it, anybody, anywhere.
It's, when I think about writing, because a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to write comedy and to figure out what's funny and what's not and how long you have to test drive a joke. Now since Trump got elected, I can't imagine that you turn on the TV every day and go, oh my God, it's like Christmas. I've got so much material to work off of.
I mean, yeah, that's a weird dynamic for me, for sure, because it's like I would be disingenuous if I tried to act like all this craziness with, the country being on fire, in my opinion, if I tried to act like it wasn't in a way good for me selfishly, like not just because it gives me material, but also it's like, my numbers go up, my views go up and everything whenever bad stuff is happening. And that's weird. It makes me feel weird because I also have kids and I live in this country. And it's like I would trade that. I'd rather things just be good and my numbers go down a little bit and I could focus on just making like cooking videos or something, something silly like that, and have everything be better for everybody. But I mean, yeah, it definitely, there's no shortage of things to talk about. I try to do those like political rant videos once a week generally, and then with all my other podcasts and things that I do. And during the Biden administration, there'd be stretches of time where I'd be like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, because it'd be like a slow news week or whatever. And it's like, now I have to trim things down, like it's hard to choose what you're not going to talk about because so many crazy things happen every week, So, I mean, it's a different world for sure.
I always said during the last administration that the MSNBC and CNN were like going, man, I know we hate the dude, but we need him back. I mean, we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I think that similar to what I was saying, but I think some of them are more shameless about it behind closed doors. But yes, the media, I mean, they profit from Trump being in, and, the people at the top definitely know that. And secretly they do kind of dig it. But yeah, I don't know.
Now, here's a tough question, because you just mentioned kids and everything else like this. Whether you like it or not, choosing political jokes can put you on the bad end of some people. And I can't imagine that sometimes you get an email or you get a message or even a comment, and it can be scary.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess I was just naive about it because as I kind of mentioned already, but when I was doing comedy in the South back then, and I would do a lot of kind of liberally edgy, I'd make fun of the Bible, I'd do pro-gay material, I'd, make fun of the Confederacy, all these types of things, like as a complete unknown in comedy clubs in the South to just kind of push the envelope or whatever. And it may not always work. It's not like everybody always liked it, but sometimes it'd go better than you think. But like, no one was threatening me over it. Like it wasn't like that yet. So I did not fully appreciate how that part of it would work when I first started making those videos, specifically in 2016, early 2016, by the way, like spring of 2016, like before Trump right as Trump was taking off. I did not appreciate how crazy people would get about politics and their side of things in this country at the time. I'm not saying I would have done anything differently, but I did not anticipate it being like that, where it's like, oh, I might be in danger sometime, I didn't really see that coming way back when I started, but it's like, I'm in it now. So here we go.
I used to be a criminal defense attorney, and every once in a while I would deal with something where somebody went off the reservations and did something so heinous that, the police got called on them. And have you ever gotten to that point where you're going, I might have to contact authorities on this one?
Thankfully, no, not yet. What I always say is I think at least so far and right now I exist at a internet comment level of hatred for people who don't like me, meaning they hate me enough to call me a homophobic slur in a DM or a comment or whatever, but not enough to make plans and get a babysitter and leave their house and come to buy a ticket and come to the show to hassle me. It's I'm not at that level of hatred for most of them yet, knock on wood at least. But yeah, no, I haven't had anything like that happen yet so far. And I hope I never do.
Yeah, me too. That stuff just gets out of hand sometime. Okay, we got your second special, Trash Daddy. Where is it dropping?
It's on YouTube now. It's out. It's on 800 Pound Gorilla's YouTube channel. They make a lot of great specials. And yeah, it came out March 13th, last Thursday. So it's available now. If you just go on YouTube and search for Trash Daddy, Trae Crowder, or you can go to TraeCrowder.com, my website, where I have tour dates also. There's a link to the special on there. So yeah, obviously free, available. Check it out.
Well, if you ever head down to Florida, let me know. I'd love to come see one of your shows.
Oh yeah, and I actually was there recently, but I will definitely be back. I come to Florida pretty frequently, so we'll do.
All right. Appreciate talking to you. I hope to talk to you soon.